Good day. Welcome to another edition of Spotlight on Mahopac Schools. Eric Gross, your host, along with Superintendent of Schools Anthony DiCarlo, on a glorious day in Mahopac, New York.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. Not a cloud in the sky.
Beautiful weather, but important times coming up in the Mahopac community around New York State. We're talking about budget time, and this year the school budget votes will take place on the 9th of June, a whole different format. You'll be getting a ballot in the mail, which you'll have to fill out and return it to the school no later than 5 o'clock on the day of the vote. Anthony, this is unheard of.
Yeah, it is. As a part of the executive order, and because we're in this, health crisis, the governor's order had said that school districts are to mail out both to registered voters as well as non-registered voters ballots that are going to have on the following on the ballot. So this is important for everybody to understand. So on the ballot that you'll be getting in the mail, and Eric, more or less, they'll start to be mailed out and received the last week in May, towards the end of the week, and the first couple of days in June. It's really important that you get the ballot. On the ballot, you're going to see the following. You will have the proposition for the 2021 budget and resolution and a yes or no on the budget. Second piece, there'll also be trustee positions. We have 3 openings this year, and there'll be 4 individuals who'll be running. I'll have those names for you on our next presentation. And then last but not least, this is very interesting, we're also going to have the library vote on this, this ballot. So it'll be the school district vote budget, the library vote budget, and then the trustee budget on the ballot. And then you have to mail it back, and it has to be received by June 9th at 5 o'clock p.m., or you can drop it off that day right over here at the high school, most likely in the gym, or there'll be a lockbox at a district office that you can be able to put it in.
But once again, June 9th at 5 p.m. And we know how the mail sometimes gets a little slow.
This is the issue, and that got brought up actually by some parents, that sometimes you could be mailing something from Mahopac to somebody in Mahopac, but what happens, it goes down to White Plains and has to come back. So we really are we want to make people understand, once you get it, open it, look at it, cast your vote, and then send it back. That's really going to be the most important piece. And if for some reason you forget about that and you realize, oh my God, it might not get back in time, then you can always be able to drop it off.
Okay. The budget numbers will be coming out in a matter of days now. We're going to have another program next week to give you the exact numbers, state aid numbers for Mahopac. But now, what's going through your mind at a time like this, waiting for the state, which is in dire financial straits, to come up with money to help support education in Mahopac?
So here's the thing. We're not getting money. We're going to have money cut on Friday. This is being taped on May 13th. On May 15th, the governor will be coming out and the budget office. So we're getting cut. We know we're getting cut. We just don't know what amount that cut's going to be. So once we know what that cut is on Friday, then next week we'll be going to the board and asking them then to adopt the budget, and then we'll have the number of what the actual increase will be percentage-wise, and then as you know, we break it down into what it will cost monthly depending on what your average assessed value of your home may be. But here's the other piece. Because it's so late, okay, we're not going to have an opportunity to do a second vote. So if this vote goes down, we go on austerity. If we go on austerity, that will mean probably close to another $2 million cut. And Eric, then we're looking at, and this is just fact, we're looking at teachers being laid off. We're looking at class sizes going up. We're looking at extracurricular and sports. We know what happens on austerity. We're not going to be allowed to do that. Anybody who wants to use these beautiful facilities now has to pay to be able to do that. The community understands what austerity means. And it's interesting, Eric, because I was just on a conference call today as a part of Rotary, and we're actually beginning to see now a tick up in real estate, because what you're seeing is people leaving Manhattan and Brooklyn to want to come up to the suburbs. And
you predicted this a week ago.
I did, and it's interesting because it's actually happening now. So I think really important, over the next 2 to 5 years, we're going to see an increase in people coming up. I think our property values are going to go up, and it's so important that we maintain our programs, extracurricular activity and academics that we've done as a part of our strategic plan. and really bringing Mayapack to that level that we know we should be at and we are at. We want to keep it there and even expand more.
You always talk about the 3 years that you've been in Mayapack, how
Yeah.
things have advanced
Yeah.
how programs have been implemented. And this pandemic now is just upsetting that apple cart.
Yeah, it's upsetting so many different aspects because, listen, it all boils down to finances, right? And it boils down to what the taxpayer can afford, but understanding that what's linked to our values and our homes are the quality of our schools. So at the end of the day, that's going to be the decision that the public and the voter will make, knowing it's difficult times. And I think you'll see next week, I think we're going to present a budget that really allows us to keep program and to keep academic programs and keep what we're doing, continue to do that. Extracurricular activities and that, keep that in place, and yet at an affordable price for the taxpayer.
What are you hearing now from the medical experts concerning the Kawasaki disease, this horrible disease now that's affecting children? 3 youngsters have passed away, one in Westchester, one in Long Island, one in New York City, teenagers to babies.
Yeah, so, this is every day, Eric. I mean, I know, you're in the field of, newspaper writing and information that you're getting all the time. This is changing day by day. So when I get asked the question of what is next school year going to look like, I can't answer it because, we're in May. You have May, June, July, August. You have 4 months, and so many things can change on both fronts before we even look at it. So what we're looking at doing basically is looking at a hybrid, looking at a plan where we all can come back, looking at a plan that might be split shifts, and then looking at, virtual continuing. That's what you really have to do because there's really no set guidance as what things may or may not look like come September.
June's right around the corner. We know that many graduations are scheduled. Some will take place, some won't take place. Again, the high school seniors want these activities, the parents want these activities, but it all boils down to safety.
Yeah, it does. And as I mentioned, and the community has been great and patient with this because I did not want to go out and give a plan knowing that it might not be able to happen. All I can tell you is that myself, and I know the fellow superintendents in Putnam are really working closely together to see what we can do. I just got off a conference call today with the Department of Health and specifically with Kenny Clare from the Safety Bureau of Putnam County. And that along with speaking with Frank Guglieri, who is in charge of safety and health for Putnam, Northern Westchester, BOCES, we're trying to put together a plan that hopefully we can do some of these things from a social distancing point of view. And as I mentioned, it's 2 weeks. So, last week and this week, I'll have an answer hopefully by the beginning of next week, and then we can chart a plan of action for June and be able to celebrate some of these great students here at Mayapack for the class of 2020.
What a year, the class of 2020. This will go down in history.
Yeah, it will. It'll be something that will be in the, in the annals of what happened to the class of 2020, not just in high school, but in colleges, and how they were able to cope with it, and God willing, be able to reflect back and say it was a difficult time, but we were able to, weather the storm and come out stronger on the other end. That's what we can all hope and pray for.
Again, we're here at Mayapack High School, and we noticed some people on the athletic field, some people on the tennis courts. The schools are closed. They shouldn't be there, should they?
Yeah, well, here's the issue. It's interesting. The governor, as of Friday, has said that certain passive things can now happen.
Tennis, one of them.
So tennis is one of them.
Yeah.
And we don't, and I said this from the beginning, Eric, I mean, I think people need to get out and get fresh air, and the schools have the availability in some of the, places to be able to do that, AKA the track and AKA the tennis courts. So again, we're going to open it up. We hope that people abide by it. If they don't, then we have to close it down. So again, everybody that's out there, in order for us to be able to get back to some type of normalcy, we have to continue with the masks and the social distancing so that we can be able to get back to some type of a normal. Because if we don't and we ignore that and we take a step backward, then all this time has been wasted. And I don't think any of us wants to see that happen.
And on a positive note, the other day, Supervisor Kenny Schmidt, I know you were involved with him as well, about parades taking place for high school students in Mayapack and Carmel.
So there's a lot of discussion around that. And I did not say anything as of yet, just for the same reason I didn't say anything about graduation. I want to make sure that everything is clear to be able to do. I think, Supervisor Schmidt is excited about doing it. He would like to do it. The same thing I mentioned about graduation, the other things, we have to make sure we put all the right things in place and that we social distance, and what that may look like and how that's planned will be yet to be determined. But it is an idea. I know he did reach out to both Carmel, myself, and Andy over at Carmel, and if we can do it and we can do it in a safe manner, it's something that we're looking at.
And we want to get the high school children to give them all the recognition they deserve.
There's no
for
question.
13 years
No question.
of hard work.
And we're starting it this weekend. We're doing recognizing, our senior athletes. We're looking at recognizing all of our students, hopefully in these ceremonies, academic, athletically, scholarship, and then graduation. And again, as soon as we get that clearance, that's why you don't want to make a decision now. As I mentioned to you, things can change. A lot of these things are going to take place a month from now. So, I know people want answers right away, and I know it's so frustrating because we can't get them. But in this case, I don't want to go out and do something and say something that I might be able to do in a couple of weeks.
Right now, the most important thing for you folks watching this show, mark down on that calendar June 9th and leave yourself a little sticky note somewhere that when that ballot comes in from the school, fill it out right there, drop it in the mail before you forget, put it in the drawer, forget about it.
And it's self-addressed envelope, and it's all
postage
there's
free.
nothing to do. The postage is on it. It's get it, look at it, cast your vote, put it in the mail. Again, it's important though that every vote counts. And there are a lot of people now who are home that normally aren't. So take a look, make your decision, and then please make sure to send it in. We want to hear from the public on how we're going to operate our schools for the 2021 school year.
Okay. We'll be back next week with an update for you once those state aid numbers come out. Keep your fingers crossed, by the way. Friday is when the governor makes the announcement. The schools will know immediately. And Anthony and I will be back next week with an update on our spotlight on Mahopac schools. So until then, for Superintendent Anthony DiCarlo, Stash Przmilski, we thank you, sir. I'm Eric Gross. Be well, stay safe. We'll see you all next time on Spotlight on Mahopac schools.
For more information, please visit our website, www.mahopac.k12.ny.us.